Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's begin your daily quiz for today. Question number 1 on your screen is this. Consider the following statements with regards to the tea garden community in Assam. Number 1. They are found mainly in those districts of Upper Assam and Northern Brahmaputra belt where there is high concentration of tea gardens. Second, the government of Assam has a full-fledged tea tribes welfare department for looking after the socio-economic welfare of the community. Third, the tribals among the community have been fighting for decades to receive scheduled tribe status, which is being denied to them in Assam, although in other states of India, their counterparts fully enjoy that status. Which of these given statements is or are correct? Out of these three statements, all the given statements are absolutely correct. That is why the correct answer here is D. Now, the tea garden community in Assam, or also regarded as the tea tribe of Assam, are a multi ethnic group of tea garden workers. If you look at their history, you will know that these are mainly people who are descendants of the tribal and backward caste people, which the British specially brought to Assam for working as indentured laborers from the regions of Odisha, West Bengal, and who have stayed and settled in Assam since then. It is estimated that their total population right now would range somewhere in the range of 65 lakh. Most of these people are considered as extremely poor and not having a high educational background. Although they are known by the term Adivasi, they have not been given the official scheduled tribe status in the state of Assam, and that is why till now they don't receive the benefits of reservation when it comes to government jobs or education institutions. The reason why we are discussing this question is because that will change from now onwards. There is a news in the Hindu newspaper today according to which the tea tribes of Assam will now get a medical quota in the state run medical colleges within Assam. It is important to note that the tea tribal community is not a very small sized community. With 65 lakh people, they make up almost 18% of the state's population. Let's move to question number 2. As per the 2015 JCPOA deal between Iran and P5 plus 1 nations, Iran was not meant to enrich uranium above dash, while enriched uranium above dash can be used for nuclear weapons. The options are right in front of you: 5.83% or 3.67, and for the next one, 80 or 90. The correct answer with this combination will be C. That is, as per the deal, Iran was not supposed to enrich uranium beyond 3.67%, while 90% enriched uranium is suitable for making of nuclear weapons. Now, before we explain this, I want you to tell me a couple of things. Number one, tell me the full form of JCPOA. Also, tell me when we say P5 plus 1 nations, which is this one nation? Apart from the P5, which are the permanent members of the UN Security Council, which is this one single nation. The reason why we are asking this question is because of this news in the Hindu newspaper, which says that Iran may have 210 kg stockpile of 20% enriched uranium. This article also tells you that as per the deal, Iran was supposed to stop its uranium enrichment at 3.67%, which is far below the 90% threshold limit, which can be utilized for making of nuclear weapons. Now, you might ask, if the deal was about 3.67%, how come Iran has now reached the 20% level? That is because in 2018, the US President Donald Trump walked out of the deal and said that I don't trust Iran enough and this deal has to be renegotiated. However, since then, the deal has not been renegotiated by the new US President also, thus allowing Iran to go ahead and enrich uranium at its own will. The article also tells you that Iran has officially said that they have also produced a stockpile of 25 kg of 60% enriched uranium. Moving on to the third question. Consider the following statements with regards to the air quality index or something which you call as AQI. Number 1. It measures a total of 10 major air pollutants. Second, AQI reading from 401 to 500 is considered as severe. Third, PM 2.5 refers to the concentration of microscopic particles less than 2.5 microns in radius. You have to tell which of these given statements is incorrect. The answer, because you have to choose the incorrect statements, is C. That is, 1 and 3 are incorrect. Now, why is it that 1 and 3 are incorrect? The first statement is wrong because AQI measures 8 and not 10 major air pollutants. These 8 include PM10, PM 2.5, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, and lead. The second statement is correct. Reading from 401 to 500 comes in the category of severe. Third statement again is wrong because PM 2.5 refers to a particle less than 2.5 microns in diameter and not radius. Micron, as you know, refers to 1 millionth of a meter. So 1 meter divided by 1 million would be 1 micron. So the incorrect statements are first and third. The reason why we are asking this question is because in the aftermath of the Diwali celebrations, crackers, and farm fires, we see that the AQI readings in Delhi and other parts of North India have unfortunately increased again and have reached the severe level. Next question is this. Which of the following is the theme for the Goa Maritime Conclave 2021? Number 1. The maritime security and emerging non-traditional threats, a case for proactive role for IOR Navy, that is Indian Ocean Region Navies. Second, common maritime priorities in Indian Ocean region and need for regional maritime strategy. Third, addressing regional maritime challenges. And fourth, none of the above. The correct answer here is A. The option that is given at the second place was actually the theme of the 2019 conclave. So this conclave happens once in 2 years. The first conclave took place in 2017. In 2017, although there was no official theme, but this was a topic of discussion, that is addressing regional maritime challenges. Now, the reason why we are asking this question is because tomorrow, that is 7th of October, the third edition of the Goa Maritime Conclave will begin, hosted by the Indian Navy, and 12 other littoral nations of the Indian Ocean region are invited to take part in this conclave. These are the 12 nations that will be taking part in this year's Goa Maritime Conclave. Comoros, which is in Africa, Singapore, Seychelles, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Madagascar, Malaysia, Maldives, Mauritius, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. Remember, this is not a grouping as such, so it's not necessary that in every conclave the same nations will be invited or will be repeated. For example, in the earlier conclaves, 10 nations took part. In this year's edition, there are 12 nations apart from India which are taking part. Question number 5. Consider the following statements with regards to the practice of stubble burning. Number 1. It is notified as an offense under Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Second, in Punjab and Haryana, farmers burn stubble left after the rice harvest so that the field may be readied for the next kharif crop like the wheat. Third, Madhya Pradesh government has set up an innovative experiment called Gothans to solve this problem. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is A. One only is correct, second and third are wrong. The second statement is slightly tricky. It is wrong because the winter crop season is Ravi and not Kharif. The third statement is wrong because it is the Chhattisgarh government that has come up with this innovative model called the Gothans. Now, Gothans essentially is a 5-acre plot area where the government asks people to donate and to bring in their excessive stubble, and with the use of cow dung and other enzymes, the government turns that into organic manure, which is used by the farmers later on and helps them in improving their yield. The reason why we are asking this question is because with the arrival of the mid of October and November, we are again seeing increased instances of stubble burning taking place, especially in the states of Punjab and Haryana, despite them being banned under multiple laws now. The study shows that the stubble burning greatly impacts the health of the lungs in the nearby areas where the stubble burning takes place. And now is the time for the previous year question from 2019. Consider the following statements. Number 1. Asiatic lion is naturally found in India only. Second, double humped camel is naturally found in India only. And third, one horned rhinoceros is naturally found in India only. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is A. One only is correct. Second and third are wrong. These are species which are not found just in India but are found in other places as well. For example, the two humped camel that we are talking about is mainly seen in Central Asia. Yes, some of them are seen in the Nubra Valley in India, but they are mainly species that belong to Kazakhstan and other parts of Central Asia. Not just this, the one horned rhinoceros, which can be seen in North India, is also found in Nepal. That is why, out of the given three statements, only the first one is correct. Time now to move to the fact of the day today, and today we have a pretty interesting topic on which the Indian Express newspaper has given a big questionnaire. This is about appointment of lower judiciary in India specifically. Now, as you know, in India, the district judges are appointed by the governor on the advice of the state high court, while the other judges at the state level are again appointed by the governor on the advice of the respective high court and the state public service commission. Meaning that in the lower judiciary, there is no concept of centralized recruitment as it is done for the Supreme Court and the High Court. Now, in India, since 1958, there has been a debate that it is time for India to introduce a new All India service in the form of Indian Judicial Service. Now, as you know, a new All India service can be created if the Rajya Sabha, that is a Council of States, passes a resolution by a special majority of two-thirds members present and voting to initiate this process. This is considered as a major reform which would lead to ensuring that there is a minimum level of standards set while appointing judges even at the lower judiciary in India. Right now, the appointment of judges at the lower judiciary happens with an exam called PCS Judicial. After the candidates pass the written examinations, they are subjected to an interview with the High Court. There is a panel of High Court judges that interview the candidates and then select them whoever they find fit for the appointment. In fact, the idea for having an All India Judicial Service has been getting support from multiple commissions and the Supreme Court itself. In 1978, the Law Commission report discussed about the problems in the lower judiciary and said that having an all India judicial service can be a good remedy. The Supreme Court also in 2017 said that the appointment of district judges needs to be looked into more seriously by the government. On the other hand, the people who are opposed to this idea say that having a centralized recruitment process would go against the basic principles of federalism in the country. Also, experts say that while having this service might solve the problem of recruitment and ensure good standards, it would not automatically solve the problems of infrastructure that the lower judiciaries are faced with right now. However, as per this idea, the central government is now thinking seriously in this direction since the government believes that a reform in the lower judiciary would also lead to improvement in India's ease of doing business ranking. This is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.